There's also nothing that's going to change between now and the draft. So what is it that's going to make up your mind between now and then that is, why would it be easier to make a decision in 3 weeks than it is right now?
Well, it's hard to speak for him. We don't know exactly what he's thinking.
I understand.
But I think that he feels like it's an important decision. He wants to take his time. He wants to marinate with the decision, process everything, take as much time as possible. Who knows if Minnesota does open up a month from now? You don't know. He's not in any rush. And there's only one Aaron Rodgers right now. It's not like these other teams can move off and say, okay, well, you know what? We're not going to wait because we have to go get this next guy. They feel like Aaron Rodgers is the guy they want. And then there's Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston and Joe Flacco and a bunch of other experienced, qualified, productive quarterbacks. But Rodgers right now, for better or worse, is the belle of the ball.
I will say this. Is there OTA going on right now?
No.
Is there a minicamp going on right now? So what's the deal? What's the
don't
point?
You want
Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers, you know.
No, but if you're a team, I'm saying, like, don't you want to know who the quarterback is going to be?
But they can't get an answer.
You know,
Greeny, we have been dealing with Aaron Rodgers for 2 years.
Yes.
Like this dude, you know, it's like
this is who he is.
This is who he is.
Like
it's not going to change.
Because my logic is like there are two teams that want you.
Right.
New York Giants and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And between those two teams, the best situation for Aaron Rodgers and his career moving forward is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I would think the decision would be easy.
But it's not.
But it's not.
Obviously.
Because with him, it tends not to be easy. I get that part of it. What I'm saying is I can turn anything. I can take a line from a rom-com and apply it to almost anything in life. And there may be the greatest line in the history of movies when Billy Crystal, at the end of When Harry Met Sally, says, when you figure out who you want to spend the rest of your life with, you want the rest of your life to begin as soon as possible. And if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, if I'm going to spend this next portion of my life with Aaron Rodgers, I would like that to begin as soon as possible. I want to feel as though there's some enthusiasm.
Greeny, he's not that into you.
That's well played. That's good. That's good. That's well played. Okay, fair enough. So here's the other piece of this. All right, so you mentioned the Giants have the third pick in the draft.
Yep.
Mel Kiper the other day did his mock draft. He mocked them taking Shedeur Sanders. Field Yates did a little mini mock last week, did the same thing. Mocked them taking Shedeur Sanders. If they believe Shedeur Sanders is good, first of all, is Shedeur Sanders going to be there at 3? Do we expect that?
I believe he will be available at 3 for the Giants. And by the way, like, they don't know that right now because Cleveland holds 2 and Tennessee's at 1. But I think when you talk to people around the league, the sense is that Cleveland would like Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward's going to be the number 1 pick. Unless Cleveland trades up to 1, I don't think it's going to get Cam Ward.
Right.
And in which case, I think Cleveland goes either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. And if they go for one of those guys, then that leaves Shedeur Sanders sitting there at number 3 for the New York Giants, if that's the direction they want to go. And by the way, the Giants and Shedeur Sanders have been linked up for quite some time. If we go back to December in the Alamo Bowl, wasn't Shedeur Sanders he had giant cleats with him, right? And is there any star player that's any more prepared for the bright lights in big city, just like Eli Manning was back in the day? Shedeur Sanders also would have been trained for this city at this time. And so we'll see how this all plays out. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers decides what he wants to do. But it certainly feels like Shedeur Sanders is going to be there at 3 for the Giants to make a decision on, and that would make a lot of sense.
Okay, it might. If they love him, great. If they love him, take him, and that's the end of the conversation. If, and I just feel like I'm trying to read the tea leaves. I host the draft, so I just listen to what all of the analysts say. I'm not a scout. I'm not an analyst. I don't have any inside knowledge on this part of it. But if they just feel like they need to take a quarterback, but the guy they really wanted was Ward, and they don't believe they can get him, there is another option. There are 2 great players in this draft, and one of the 2 of them is going to be available under your scenario, either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Quarterback from Louisville who has as much talent, I think, as anybody. He's got the size. He ran a 4.6 at the 40. He's almost 26 years old. There are a lot of things about him that will raise flags, but I think this guy has late first round written all over him.
I love that. My only concern, Greeny, is that I don't believe Tyler Shuck will.
They're a good sign for Pittsburgh fans who are hoping to see their team sign off on the future Hall of Famer, but Rodgers is still taking his time deciding on his future. In the meantime, Mike Tomlin says he isn't worried about the quarterback position.
That's why we brought him back. I'm comfortable with that, man. We've been there before. He's a very capable guy.
This is the funniest thing. I just have to let the audience know what just happened.
Strolled in.
Okay,
wheeled in.
first of all, you look phenomenal. Just get out here. Like, this is unbelievable. I have to tell everyone. Okay, so obviously we're switching out guests. Lewis is there coming in, hustling over from Get Up. So they're pushing Lewis in the chair all the way into a full, complete car crash. The airbags would have went off. I apologize. If you want to talk to HR, are you okay?
A lesser athlete like Stephen A. would have fell into this table and busted his grill all out.
Really? Why we got to go there? Why we got to go there?
You know you're my guy.
I mean, you ain't got to go there. You know what I'm saying? You know,
core strength, held it together.
I noticed how your blue suit, she said something about that, but she didn't say nothing about mine. I don't need that.
But you know what?
I mean, no, Stephen A. It's honestly, it's how we put it. It's how we put it together with the watch and everything.
I actually was going.
I complimented you the other day.
Compliment you too.
Thank you very much.
That's a nice look.
Yeah, I don't know about the shirt choice, but yesterday you did good, pattern on pattern.
You don't know about the shirt?
You got to get Stephen A. with his presidential fold.
Yeah.
What you trying to say,
You see the presidential fold, Stephen A.? You see the presidential fold? You see the presidential fold? You see Lewis' presidential fold?
See, I got to bring a new flavor to the presidency. You can't be that kind of pocket square. It's got to be something.
No. We're going to vote you out of office.
It ain't working right now.
Okay,
just a little different.
Just accept the.
Yeah, just take it. Yeah, just let it go.
It's a good look.
Yeah.
It's a good look.
Hey, fellas.
Yeah.
Ladies.
Oh, here we go.
I approve
this
that
message. Okay, Lewis, would Pittsburgh make noise next season with Aaron Rodgers under center?
Yeah, I think they would, Molly, provided a couple other things fall into place. Like, number one, this offensive line has got to ascend into a top 10 type of offensive line instead of like a mid-level 15, 16, 17, 17th ranked offensive line when you're talking about run block and pass block win rate. Look, Aaron needs to be protected at this point in his career. Sure. But I do believe that he would level up this offense because for a number of different reasons. Number one, because of the fact that he has seen it all and done it all at the NFL level, especially when you're talking about situational football. I still do believe in the back quarter of the season last year, you started to see a guy who was starting to hit his stride from a health perspective. I think he would then, like in real-time situations, be able to make the kind of throws, make the kind of decisions that would really allow this football team to, again, provided everything else around him is going the way it needs to go, that would level up the position. Look, that's not trying to be disrespectful to Russ or any other, or Justin Fields or anyone else who's been there. But the fact of the matter is, he's a better quarterback, all things being considered, than those two players are at this point in his career. So I think if the defense will continue to hold up their end of the bargain, Mike will hold up his end of the bargain from a coaching perspective, DK will do his thing, George will do his thing, Pat Freiermuth do his thing. Yeah, I do think that Pittsburgh can make some noise in the North and in the AFC overall.
Go ahead, Shannon.
A wagon full of empty cans make noise. Now, y'all said the same thing. Lewis, I remember you saying the same thing when they got Aaron Rodgers at the Jets. You say they're going to make some noise.
No,
now,
I didn't.
Tell me, he's a much better quarterback than Russ. Hold on, just a second. You said he's a much better quarterback than Russ and Justin Fields. Was he a better quarterback in New York than Zach Wilson? Are we sure? Are you getting an old Aaron Rodgers or just an old Aaron Rodgers? Because they're two different players. Now, what we saw in New York was a guy that can consistently game in and game out deliver. I think you're asking him to be what he was in Green Bay during those MVP seasons. I don't believe he's at that level anymore. Can he have a game or two here and there? Yes. But, Lewis, you know this, having studied the game and played the game. As you get older, those games that you could stay at this level become few and far between. You're not able to do it consistently, game in and game out, throw in and throw out. So I think that's his biggest problem. And also, you're saying that Rodgers is going to be this. That Steelers defense can't have any slippage because we saw the Jets. When they had a little slippage, he wasn't able to take them over the top. Do I believe he has better weapons at the receiver position? Yes. But what happened to the Crash Out brothers when they're not getting the ball? You know what's going to happen when DK doesn't get the ball. You know what's going to happen when George Pickens doesn't get the ball. So I'm not really sure how much better he actually makes the Steelers. I still don't believe they'll be better than the Ravens. I don't believe they'll be better than Cincinnati this year for the simple fact at the quarterback play. He's not a better quarterback. Is he more accomplished than Lamar and Joe Burrow? Absolutely. But is he a better quarterback at this stage? Nah.
Look, there are a number of different things that need to happen in order for Aaron to play at his maximum within the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. And I'm not saying Aaron can elevate and kind of be a guy who can kind of like put well, let's just say soften some of the things that they have as far as their deficiencies are concerned. I'm not saying he's at that level of quarterback anymore. Well, look, when he was in New York, offensive line play was a big problem for New York. If you measure by pass block, run block, win rate, as far as that group of 5 that they had there, it wasn't good enough for him to be able to play at the level that we're asking him to play at this point in his career because of the diminished skills that he has at this point in time. So, look, there's a lot of things that Pittsburgh is going to need to correct and need to improve upon in order for you to get the best out of him. Okay, so the offensive line is where that's going to start. The running game is where that's going to have to be obviously a very big part of the complementary pieces around him that have to really raise their game. Arthur Smith's going to have to raise his game. DK and, as you call the Crash Out brothers, him and George Pickens, are going to have to be on their very best behavior and be at their very best. I'm just saying this, though. I believe that Aaron, at this point in his career, I mean, Shannon, you can speak to this. There's something to be said for motivation at this point in his career, given how his career has gone since he's been in New York. Would it lead you to believe that if you provide him with a stable situation in terms of coaching staff, offensive play caller, offensive line is healthy, and having some weapons on the perimeter, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to surprise some people this year. I know it's easy right now to kind of to sit there and bang on him and say, look, his best days are long behind him. I don't believe that's true necessarily. I believe that he will elevate his play in 2025 given the right situation.
Well, I think you're wrong in that. I think his best days are behind him. I just think that his less than best days are still a better option than anything that's on the table right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's where the real story lies here, Shannon. It's really not about what Aaron Rodgers brings to the table. It's about the options that you have if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. You let Justin Fields walk out the door, right? He decided he'd rather be a New York Jet than be a Pittsburgh Steeler, okay? Because of the absence of faith that they may have.